Good evening. Welcome to King County Levy Court business meeting. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. Before we open the business meeting officially, I'll turn it over to the county administrator to explain how those that would like to join us by phone can do so and or WebEx. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. This meeting is being held in person at 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware, in room 203. We also are making it available via the internet through WebEx. Participants can join us by computer or by phone during the meeting. There will be opportunities for public comment from those attending in person or online. When the president opens a public comment period, those attending the meeting in person may step forward to one of the two podiums and be recognized. If you are joining us online and wish to comment, please press star 3, which will raise your electronic hand. Our operator will identify you and bring you into the meeting. Pressing star 6 will mute and unmute your line. If you are participating online, you will see a hand and microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. We ask that you use those at the appropriate times. We ask our guests to begin public comments by stating your name and address for the record. The county attorney will administer an oath or affirmation to anyone giving testimony during a public hearing. We ask that comments relate to the subject announced by the president. There is a period for general public comment near the end of the meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will follow all the rules of procedure adopted by the Levy Court, as well as the Mason's Rules of Order. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Before we get started, on the doors posted, please silence your cell phones. Please no eating or drinking in the courtroom. And if you have a hat on, unless it's part of a uniform, please remove it. Thank you. We will start our business meeting, call to order. I'll ask Commissioner Maston to lead us in the invocation. Pledge allegiance, Commissioner Scott. Moment of silence for our troops and first responders, Commissioner Sweeney. All rise, please.
God of truth, enlighten us now as we meet together so that we each have a clear understanding of the issues we need to discuss. Give us clarity on our purpose for this meeting and what objectives we should accomplish in this meeting. May these objectives keep us on track, and may they bond us together with a common goal. May these objectives drive each of us to actively participate rather than passively listen. May this meeting be lively and productive, and may the desired outcome be achieved. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have given their lives in the line of duty. Please remember these individuals, as well as keeping their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Deputy Sheriff Timothy Rivers from the Crawford County Sheriff's Office, Georgia. Deputy Sheriff Christopher Johnson from the Harnett County Sheriff's Office in North Carolina. Deputy Sheriff Greg McGowan from the Blount County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee. Deputy Sheriff Ronald Bates from the Harris County Sheriff's Office, Texas. Patrol Officer Jonah Hernandez from Las Cruces Police Department, New Mexico. Sergeant Nevada Krinke from the Sheridan Police Department, Wyoming. Deputy Sheriff Robert Leonard from the Meigs County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee. Police Officer Paul Elmstrand from Burnsville Police Department in Minnesota. Police Officer Matthew Rouge from the Burnsville Police Department in Minnesota. Trooper First Class Chase Redner from the Georgia State Patrol in Georgia. Deputy Sheriff Charles Rivette from Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Texas. Police Officer Wisbin Antoine from the Knoxville Police Department in Tennessee. K-9 Leo from the Marion County Sheriff's Office in Florida. K-9 Luca from the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office in Mississippi. Firefighter paramedic Chris Nelson, who was injured and was a paraplegic for the last 10 years from an accident while on duty, lost his life this past weekend. From the Selma Fire Department in California, firefighter Trevor Brown from the Sterling Volunteer Fire Company in Virginia. Fighter paramedic Adam Finseth from the Burnsville Fire Department in Minnesota. Battalion Chief John Garrow from the Philadelphia Fire Department, Pennsylvania, and Safety Officer Louis Dunstan from the Youngsville Fire Department in North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Can you have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Present. Present.
Mr. Hall,
Present.
Mr. Hertz,
Here.
Mrs. Maston,
Here.
Mr. Scott,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Mr. Pepper.
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 present.
Thank you. We do have quorum. Need a motion for the adoption of this evening's agenda?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Hertz,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. This evening's agenda has been adopted. First items on the agenda are presentations. First one is Kent County 4-H Montana Exchange Trip follow-up presentation. Come on down. Welcome. Great to see you back.
Good to see you. Mr. President, honorable members of Kent County Levy Court, my name is Chad Robinson. I, along with Krista Gallo, have the honor of being the advisors of the Kent County 4-H Exchange Group. We are incredibly grateful for your support last year of our exchange trip to Montana. Wanted to come back tonight and share with you a little bit about that trip and the impact that it had on our youth. So Krista and I are going to step aside. You'll hear from us again at the end and let you hear from the most important people in the group, our youth that had the opportunity to go to Montana this past year and the impact that it had on them. Ava?
Good evening. My name is Ava Gallo, and I was in our previous exchange with Montana last year, and I'll be going over our PowerPoint this evening. So this was when we first got to Montana, and we got a picture behind one of the big cities, or in front of, sorry. When we were out there, we did a couple farm tours. So the one farm, as you can see, there was different types of irrigation out there than what we were used to. And they also produced malt barley, sugar beets, beef cattle, and more. And they were young female farmers who got started off of a financial program, and they produced like all the things that I said. And then we went to a wind farm that has over 100 wind turbines. So it was pretty cool being able to drive out there and see all the wind turbines and learn a little bit about that. And then we went to Rainbow Trout Hatchery. It was the blue water fish hatchery. So we got to feed the fish, learn about the nutrition of the fish, and get to hear all about that. We were able to go to the Cody Night Rodeo. So as you can see, there is a picture of the group of us in front of the sign, and then team roping, and then the rodeo clowns, which were pretty funny. And then we went to Yellowstone. We spent 2 days in Yellowstone. We were able to go see Old Faithful. We got to see a few waterfalls and a lot of the other geysers. And then we saw many animals. There was bison, and then there was a cool picture of a ram, and we stopped in front of the Yellowstone National Park sign to get a picture. And we had lots of group dinners and quality bonding time. So this was the picture all the way to the right is the first night that we got there. We went to one of their big stores, and we had lunch there and got to shop a little bit, and there was even a Ferris wheel in the middle of the store, so we got to ride the Ferris wheel. And then in the middle picture, it was after we went to one of the lakes out there. We spent a little bit of time swimming, and then we went back to one of the family's house, and we played cornhole and had a bonfire. And then the last one, all the way to the left, was after we went to the farm tours, and we had volleyball and cornhole and games like that. We also went to the Stillwater Mine. The Stillwater Mine produces 78% of palladium and 22% of platinum. So the exchange member from Montana that I stayed with, her dad actually worked there, so we were able to get a tour from him and a few of the other people. And it was pretty cool being able to learn about it and hear all the stories that they had. We weren't able to look inside of the mine because we were too young, but it was still cool being able to see all the area that they had. And then this was in 2023 when 2022, sorry, when Montana came to Delaware. We had a Kent County Day, so we went to the Dover Air Force Base Museum, and we split into two groups, and we had guided tours. So we were able to learn about all the different planes that we had there, and actually we were able to go up in one of the watchtowers. And then we also went to Dover Motor Speedway, so we got to go around the track, and we were able to get a picture and visit Victory Lane. We had a Newcastle Day where we floated down the Brandywine, and that was pretty fun. It took a little bit longer than they expected, but we had quality bonding time with that. And then we went to U Dairy Creamery as well. And then Sussex County Day, we went to the beach. And then after that, we went to Grottos, and then we went to Funland, and we rode some of the rides. And then we also went to Washington, D.C. and Arlington Cemetery. So in this, you can see we were able to watch the changing of the guards, and we were also able to go into Chris Coons' office and get a tour of the Capitol, and we were also able to go to the person from Senator Tester's office as well. He's the senator from Montana. And then we had our end of the week dinner and a farm tour. So we went to the Knutson's Dairy Farm down in Harrington, Delaware, and me and Miss Susan Gary, Aiden's mom, gave a tour of the farm and taught them a little bit more about dairy cows. And then we had our end of the week dinner, and we were able to play volleyball, and it started downpouring, so we still played out in the rain and had a good way to end the week. And that is all. Aiden, do you have anything to say?
Not about the PowerPoint, just personal experiences. Good evening. My name is Aiden Gary. I was also a member of the exchange program over the last 2 years. I was fortunate enough to be able to host two Montana 4-H'ers at my house, and then I was then able to go and stay with one of them when we went out to Montana. I know from 1 year to the next, it was really nice to be able to kind of reestablish the connections that we had made in 2022, going back out and reconnecting with our friends and kind of some acquaintances that we don't obviously see very often. Furthermore, all of the trips that Ava had talked about, all of those excursions, I know for me, coming from an agricultural background, seeing agriculture out there, it looks very different than how it does here on the East Coast and on the coastal plain. And so it was really good to be able to kind of see different methods of production and make connections within the industry. Several people that I spoke to out there indicated that they would be willing to establish further connections with me and even host me personally out there in the future so that I could study what they're doing. I personally hope to, in the future, open my own agricultural operation. And so those connections are going to be very valuable for me. Other than that, just connecting, seeing different ways of life, absolutely positive. I've been very fortunate to be able to travel a lot in my life to all different places, all different parts of the states and abroad. And Montana was definitely a unique one, and we're looking forward to going out to Kansas in 2 years' time and then hosting some Kansas 4-H'ers this summer. Thank you, guys.
I'm Karen Williams. I am a parent of one of the students he participated in the Kansas exchange 4 years ago, and then COVID hit, so he didn't go out to Kansas. But we hosted a Kansas student, and then he participated in the Montana exchange as well. And we hosted a student, and he got ready to go back this summer, and the student we hosted was in Japan, so he stayed with another person. So it was a great experience in, giving him some ability to adapt, which was great before he headed off to college this fall, and which is why he's not here tonight. He's up at the University of Delaware. So it's a great program, gives you a lot of opportunities. His his greatest thing was, besides meeting the people, was the opportunity to photograph the landscapes and things like that out there. So he really enjoyed that. And the Blue Angels were practicing at the airport, delayed their flight home, but Weston was thrilled because he got lots of pictures of Blue Angels. So that was great. So thank you very much for the sponsorship.
Well, Ava and I hosted 2 kids in 2022, and well, because I had a son, and because of the way that we had to host the children, we had more boys. They had more boys than we did, so we had to host a boy and a girl. So we had 2 members at our house in 2022. And then Ava and I got to be with the girl and the family who we hosted in 2022. So we're looking forward to going to Kansas. It's Shawnee County, Kansas in 2025. Kansas will come here first in this year, this summer. So we look forward to exchanging with Kansas.
And so again, we just want to say thank you. Your support made this possible, and we hope to come to you again this year, if that's possible, to talk about having this opportunity again. It's incredibly impactful for our youth, and we see that. You've heard that from Ava and Aiden tonight, and if Weston were here, I know he would say the same thing. This opportunity is something that youth don't really get to experience. And I think by giving them the opportunity to create these relationships, to experience this in a safe, secure program is something that is really, really valuable. So we are excited to travel to Kansas next year, but hosting them this year, we're already working through that process now with the leadership there in Shawnee County, Kansas. So it's quite exciting. They're always excited to come here, but we're equally as excited to go there. And again, all of that wouldn't be possible without all of you. So thank you so very much. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to entertain those.
Any commissioners have any questions, comments? Jody?
Thanks, Mr. President. Ava, Aiden, first of all, I watched you guys come up from about this big, and you would never be able to tell that you guys were public speakers at all. You did a great job. I just want to say, didn't use your hands as much. You didn't glance at your notes. You had made good eye contact. Ava, your mom, not so much.
That's what I told her.
She just told me
I wrote down too many ums. So, this was an agricultural trip. That's what 4-H is all about. What do you guys think was the biggest difference between Delaware agricultural and Montana, as well as what do you think are the things that are most similar?
I would say the biggest thing that stood out to me, and it was kind of touched on in one of the pictures that was shown on the PowerPoint, is the irrigation differences. Here in Delaware, we obviously have plenty of water, a little bit too much kind of this time of year. But we get about 40 inches of rainfall. Out there, they get, I think, 18 on average per year. And so their water usage looks very different than ours. They have a program where they have to pay for water, and it's based upon the land area that the farmer owns. And so then their irrigation use, they can use as much water as they want after they've paid for it, but in order to have access to the water, they have to pay. And again, that's based off of land area. Obviously, that's very different than here, where after drilling a well, you have full access to the water, you just have to pay to withdraw it. That would definitely be the biggest difference, and they use irrigation almost constantly year-round, whereas we only kind of use it as needed in the summer months. Similarities, I would say the biggest thing is probably grain production. It looks pretty similar out there as it does here. Growing seasons are just a little bit different, a little bit shorter, but other than that, pretty similar.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Were you able to pick up on anything that they do better than we do? Or is there anything that we do better than they do?
It was just mentioned from the back that we make better ice cream. I assume that's probably referring to the Dairy Creamery. Other than that, I would say, again, this is coming from my agricultural background, and something that I've done a lot of work in and research into over the last several years is looking at integrating animals, and especially beef cattle, into livestock production and plant production. And that's not something that we have a lot of in Delaware. It's been shown to have incredibly beneficial effects on soil health and even the climate, sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere. And they do a lot of that out there, beef cattle on pasture, which again, you don't really see a whole lot of here. The few beef cattle that we do have in Delaware are generally confined to feedlots. So I would say if there's like one big thing that I could look at and say, yeah, I wish that we did more of that over here, it would definitely be the way that they raise their animals.
Okay.
Some of their farms out there are as big as our county.
Yeah.
Did you when you visited those farms, were they small family farms? And I follow Laura Farms on TikTok, so that's kind of my impression.
So with the family that I stayed with, they actually own beef cattle, so they were able to take us to their summer pasture, and their summer pasture was huge. So most of the farms out there are small family farms, but there are some bigger farms. And the farm that we went to, as I mentioned before, of the two young women that started this up on their own, this was a family farm. I think they were a couple generations their family was a couple generations of farmers, so it was definitely a cool experience to see that.
Any other questions? If not, thank you. Really happy that you enjoyed yourself.
Yes.
And that you learned a lot.
Yes.
And brought a lot back to Delaware to talk with your peers about. So keep up the good work, and keep up the good work with 4-H.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Chad and Krista, thanks for you guys being the adults that led them out there, and any of the other parents or adult leaders that went with you, please extend our thanks.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Resolution 4033, proclaiming March 10th through 16th as Girl Scouts Week in Kent County, Delaware. This is a resolution. If we can have it read into the record, and we'll vote on it. But I understand that the representative from the Girl Scouts is not here tonight, so we'll just vote on it and get the proclamation to them a little bit later on. Lori, can we have you read the resolution, please?
Whereas March 12, 2024 marks the 112th anniversary of Girl Scouts of the USA, the largest and most impactful leadership program for girls in the world. And whereas throughout its long and distinguished history, Girl Scouting has inspired millions of girls and women with the highest ideals of character, conduct, patriotism, including Girl Scouts of the Chesapeake Bay, who serve over 7,000 members over 14 countries of the Delmarva Peninsula. And whereas Girl Scouting connects girls to a world of possibilities in a positive, inclusive, girl-led environment where girls are inspired to discover their passions and empowered to reach their full potential. And whereas Girl Scouts remain dedicated to fostering a sense of public service, civic engagement, and community among girls while offering enriching opportunities for learning, skill building, and personal growth in areas such as STEM, entrepreneurship, and the outdoors. And whereas more than 2.6 million current Girl Scout members nationwide will be celebrating 112 years of this American tradition, with more than 50 million women, trailblazers, visionaries, and leaders who are Girl Scout alums who have made the world a better place and are living proof of the impact of this amazing movement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Kent County Levy Court does hereby applaud the Girl Scout movement and the Girl Scouts of the Chesapeake Bay for providing girls with a safe, inclusive, all-girls space where they can hone their skills and develop leadership abilities. And we declare the week of March 10th through 16th to be Girl Scout Week in Kent County. Be it further resolved that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the February 27th, 2024 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. This is a resolution. I need a motion, please.
Move to approve Resolution 4033.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney to approve Resolution 4033, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions on the motion from any commissioners? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 4033 has been approved by Levy Court. Next item on the agenda, and we will get that to them, as they did not have a representative here this evening. Next item, Employee of the Month for March of 2024. Lori, can we have you read that into the record, please?
Kent County Department heads have selected Gregory J. Mansfield from the Department of Administration as the March 2024 Employee of the Month. Greg is a network specialist in the Information Technology Office and started with Kent County in November 2015. Greg began as a Computer Support Technician 1 and was promoted to Computer Support Technician 2 in June 2018. Since the recent retirement of 2 lead positions in the IT network staff, Greg has displayed a willingness to learn, excel, and become proficient in what Kent County requires to provide support and services to all departments. Greg is responsible for network support resources for the wastewater treatment facility, as well as maintaining the network at the public safety building. He has been essential in coordinating the networking portion of upgrading our SCADA system with the SCADA integrator and our network vendor by diving into a critical Kent County system that he had no previous knowledge about. Greg has gained a working knowledge of how the system was developed and how to support it in the future. According to Information Technology Director Joe Simmons, Greg's position as Network Specialist 1 has changed in terms of everyday duties and aspects of our network environment, and he continues to rise to the occasion delivering optimal services and support. His ability to step into and perform some of the primary aspects of the network administrator position while managing maintenance support calls and multiple current duties and tasks is what makes him such a valuable team member. Congratulations, Greg, on a job well done. And he resides in Commissioners Sweeney's and Pepper's district. And the tribute reads, Kent County Levy Court, March 2024, Employee of the Month, Gregory J. Mansfield. On this, the 27th day of February 2024, the Levy Court of Kent County, State of Delaware, does hereby recognize Gregory J. Mansfield, Network Specialist 1, Department of Administration, Information Technology Office, for his exceptional initiative, dedication, and conscientiousness in the delivery of services to the citizenry of the county.
Okay, if the commissioners will meet me down front, and Greg is here, and Joe's here, so meet me down front, please. Hey, Mark. Well, Greg, we're certainly proud of you for obtaining this recognition. Only so many people a year get recognized, and you have to be one of them this year. And you'll be working towards the grand prize at the end of the year. So good luck on that. Before the other commissioners talk, can you tell us how you got interested in this line of work?
So when I graduated high school and went to college in the 1990s, all the money was in IT back then. I originally wanted to be an optometrist, but everybody convinced me to go into IT, and that's where I've been ever since.
Any regrets?
No, not
All right. All right, Commissioner Angel.
Well, I guess you can say you saw the light. But thank you for what you do, too. I mean, we went through a harrowing experience with, this past summer, and I know you were part of the team to help with that, but thank you very much.
Congratulations, Greg, on a job well done, and may you continue to be part of the Kent County Levy Court family.
Greg, thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it, all your hard work and dedication. And another plus you have going for you is that you don't live in Commissioner Hertz's district.
One thing I'd like to say about Greg, he is always there when IT need him, when the county need him. What a lot of people don't know is that those calls that was coming in for either the wastewater treatment plant or public safety, Greg was my go-to guy. I can call him up any time of night and say, hey, meet me over at public safety, meet me down at water treatment plant, and he's right there on the scene helping us out. So he was one of the key staff members that stepped up during this time. As you know, 2 key staff members retired, and he filled in the gap for both of those positions. So he was basically, for the last 6 months, been filling 2 positions. So I'm really proud that Greg is selected Employee of the Month because, like I said, he is a tremendous asset to not only to the IT department, but Kent County.
Greg, congratulations. I was not going to say anything about what district he came from, so congratulations. I love it when IT guys get this award. The recognition, for most of the time, it's behind the scenes and they don't see how much you do. But to read and to hear somebody say that you're aggressive enough to want to keep bettering yourself, that's what IT is all about. So congratulations on the recognition.
Yeah, congratulations, and I'm glad that another district finally come through and put an Employee of the Month up here.
Congratulations, thanks very much for all you've done in a very tough time. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Greg, and I know that this award means a lot, but you also been recognized by, I know, at least one other department with your favorite treat of all time, gummy bears. So we're going to have to G up with some more gummy bears if we keep racking up the wins.
Greg, you want to have any parting words?
No, I'm just thankful for everybody here tonight, and I accept this award on behalf of the IT department. We have a lot of things coming up this year and a lot of things that we need to do, and we're going to keep advancing the county and our technology forward. Joe has a vision, Ken has a vision, and as we work together in what I call Room 235, we'll get it done.
Great words.
We'll get this picture up on the internet site.
Good. Yeah, at least you'll have me in this picture. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution 4026, retirement of Donna Zerhusen. Donna could not join us this evening, but we will read the resolution into the official record of Levy Court, and we'll vote on it, and we'll get this resolution to her at a later date. Hopefully she's enjoying her retirement. Lori?
Whereas the retirement of Donna Zerhusen, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from her duties as audit analyst in the Kent County Finance Office presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Donna Zerhusen as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Donna Zerhusen for the able and loyal manner in which she performed her public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be her evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the February 27, 2024 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. We need a motion, please.
Move to approve Resolution 4026, retirement of Donna Zerhusen.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions on the motion from the commissioners? I don't see any. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 4026, retirement of Donna Zerhusen, has been approved by Levy Court. And to the folks in the audience, thank you for bearing with us. But anytime we get the opportunity to recognize special things people in the community have done, and or our family of employees here at Levy Court, we take that opportunity to do it. So moving on with our public hearings, the first public hearing is a petition for conditional use approval. Falls under Commissioner Scott. It's application C24-02.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Kiefer.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. First, a word about how the hearings tonight will be conducted. The public hearing is being conducted for the purpose of giving the citizens of the county the opportunity to present testimony on the applications before the Levy Court. Everyone will have a chance to speak. All statements are to be made from the podium at the front of the room. For the record, please give your name and address. Copies of any written statements or exhibits used during the hearing should be presented for identification and inclusion in the record. For each application before the Levy Court, the President will introduce the application. The Levy Court will then receive testimony from all of those in favor. Testimony will then be received from those who may be opposed. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the hearing on the application will be closed, and the Levy Court will take what action it deems appropriate. Levy Court's decision will be based upon public hearing testimony given at this meeting and a recommendation submitted to the Levy Court by the Regional Planning Commission. I would ask that that recommendation be included by reference in the permanent record of this meeting established by the Clerk of the Peace. The public notice of this hearing was published in the February 2nd, 2024 edition of the Delaware State News. The first application before the Commissioners tonight, C2402, is a conditional use application for a community energy generating facility. The site is zoned AR, agricultural residential. The project area is 21.3 acres, and it's located at the intersection of Milford-Harrington Highway and Butler Road east of Harrington, outside the growth zone. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony on the application at their February 1st hearing, and at their February 8th business meeting, voted unanimously to recommend approval of the application, finding that it meets indeed all of the conditions of approval for a small-scale solar facility. So again, this comes with a recommendation for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Kiefer? Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you, sir. So, Ms. Kiefer, real quick, community solar farm is one that, finish the sentence.
It's under 50 acres.
Thank you. So even though this property is actually 119 acres, it's the project area, not necessarily the entire parcel that's being impacted.
Correct. It's the area of actual solar panels. Yes.
But we don't cut that parcel in half.
No.
So if they're only using 23, so that leaves about 96 acres or so that's still going to be wooded or farmed or
However
something.
the property owner deems, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions from commissioners? See none, thank you. Okay, this is the part of the public hearing where we ask anyone who is in the audience that may be in favor of this project, please come forward and offer testimony in favor. And please give your name, address, and then be sworn or affirmed with our attorney, please.
Charles Hurd, Harrington, Delaware. Mr. Hurd, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir, I do. Thank you. I am one of the property owners on this project with my sister. And for Mr. Sweeney's question, the 119 acres, yes, there's 30 acres wooded and approximately 80 acres tillable. So taking out the 21, there'll still be 60-some acres that'll be in agricultural lands. I want to say that I'm not new to solar. We have a 23 kW system on the farm that generates approximately 95% of the farm's electric. It's entering it into its 7th year. I started studying the benefits of solar 10 years before we put up our system. So approximately 17 years ago, I got interested. I believe in it and the progress that the technology has gained. To the commission, I said quite a few things the other day that I'll skip, but I do say that it is time for us to have progress. The one line I used was, I'm sure that the Pony Express didn't like the Telegraph or the carriage makers didn't like Ford Motor Company. Progress. I'm not against fossil fuels in any way. I am quite a conservationist. Some of the gentlemen in this room know that in 2008 I won a national award for pollinator conservation and was recognized by Mr. Brood as a commissioner at the time. That has not been forgotten in my ways of handling my lands. I've been in agriculture all my life. One other comment I'd like to make was a quote that I found from an American native who once said, "We do not inherit the land from our ancestors, but borrow it from our children." And I've kept that in mind with every decision I've made about this farm. We bought it from an aunt's estate who was left to the church, and the reason we even got that option was she wanted it to stay a farm. I've done that and continue to do that. This project's been entered into with great thought and consideration. We followed every guideline and regulation set forth by the community solar generation by regulating authorities. There's even a bond that will pay for the decommission at the end of the system life, and the bond will also help return the ground back to farmland if that is the choice. We've entered into this because we want to do it right. I do want to say that because solar is a new technology, I understand that there's fears and apprehension that people may have. So as we've tried to follow all these recommendations, policies, and ordinances, I want to thank all of the county departments that have been involved up to this point with guidance and clarity on all parts of this process with my project manager, Ms. Habel, and her team. I have no other comments. Do any of the commissioners have a comment from me?
Any commissioner questions? Commissioner
Mr. Hurd, I just want to confirm that through all this process of the solar panels, this farmland is going to remain farmland under your name.
Yeah.
Correct? So even at the end of the day, when the panels are gone, it's still farmland.
This community solar program is basically a lease program. Some entity, philanthropist, whoever he is going to own the generating facility, but I will own the land under it, my sister and I. And it will remain ours. They rent the land from us just like a farmer rents it to farm. We have a 20-year lease with 4 5-year options. Ms. Hable will probably go into that, and that question came up before. Part of that is because we don't know where technology will be in 20 years. All of you here are familiar with Mr. Buxton. He called me one day and says, what if someday we can generate as much electric with a solar panel the size of your cell phone that we're doing with these 4x8s? I said, we'll generate a lot more electric in the same area. That was my answer to Eric. Does that answer your question, sir?
It does, Mr. Hurd. I just, I thought it was important to get out there that, at the end of the day, it's still going to be a farm.
Yes.
It's not going to be anything else, so it's pretty positive.
Any other, Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurd, first of all, I appreciate your affirmation of solar and what it's doing not only for you, but for our communities. You said 7 acres you have on your farm right now?
No, 23 kW system.
Oh, 23 kW system.
Yeah.
You ever had need to have the water tested around your house?
I've got a shallow well, and I got a feeling what'll come in out of my well will probably be pesticides and chlordane and other things. And I can say right now, one of my comments a couple weeks ago was when I was a kid, I grew up 1.5 miles from here, and there were some streams back in the woods that I would drink out of. And now I'm afraid to drink my own tap water, But what's going to show up in my water, and some other people around me have tested theirs, it's nitrates. And also a comment I made a couple weeks ago was this system may have a step above agriculture. As much as I love agriculture, there will be no more phosphates and nitrates going into the soils. It'll be its own little ecosystem because we're going to put pollinator type meadow thing in there. There you go, honeybees, and we're trying to make it environmentally friendly. Even though we are taking a little bit of land out of agriculture, we think the benefits way outweigh that, and I was looking for a way to generate revenue for my family in the future, and one of my other choices was 6 chicken houses. When I moved there 29 years ago, there was 4 within 1 mile of me. Today there's 28. I didn't really want 6 more, so when this project came up, I raised my hand, and we talked a lot. We've been doing this for almost 2.5 years. We hope we have most of our obstacles behind us, is why we've waited this long to come to you gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Any other commissioner questions? Don't see any. Thank you, Mr. Hurd.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Anyone else in the audience in favor of this project? Please come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Claire Hable. I'm the project developer for this application with New Leaf Energy.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Address, please.
11454 Shady Farm Lane, Ashland, Virginia, 23005.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Proceed.
Thank you. In the spirit of brevity, I don't want to spend too much time going through the information that was already shared at the Regional Planning Commission meeting, but I am wondering if the presentation is available just so I can reference some photos that are in there, just highlighting a couple of things I think are important for tonight's meeting. Thanks. All right. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. First is how we intend to use the existing tree buffer around where we are proposing the site to be located. And then secondly, I'll discuss very briefly the community solar program as it differs from the definition from the county and how it might function. And again, I'll be very brief, so please feel free to ask me any questions, and I can go into further detail if you all wish. Just the photo here is showing off of Milford-Harrington Highway looking towards where the proposed facility would be located. That's our team. I think we all know where this project is proposed to be located. This photo is really what I was hoping to pull up tonight. This is on the corner of Butler and Milford-Harrington. Those trees that are existing there are intended to be used as part of the visual buffer for this project. You can see they're already at maturation. They have really good screening capabilities as they are now. And the plan that is proposed also includes additional trees to further buffer the system. There's a couple of details about why this is a good spot for solar that I won't bore you with tonight, but the main thing that we look for in a good site is that there's the ability to interconnect to a 3-phase power line, not the big transmission lines that are way up there, but the ones that run along your highway. And that's available here on site. And the reason is because this is a distributed generation system. It functions at the distribution level, which allows it to participate in Delmarva's community solar program. As you all may know, the state passed some legislation allowing Delmarva to unfold this program and allow developers to participate, with the intention that this clean energy will that the systems in this program will increase access to clean energy for community members, but most importantly for all of us is to deliver cost savings on energy bills to folks in the community. While this program hasn't fully been fleshed out yet, we haven't seen these new bills come forward, it's anticipated that folks will see a 10 to 15% cost savings on their energy bills, and it is totally an elected-in program. So folks can still pay Delmarva as they wish, but folks will have the option to participate and see some cost savings. We do have a couple of comments that were provided to the Regional Planning Commission after our first hearing that I think that you all have a copy of, and we're happy to answer any further questions on them. But we do have them written out here, are the responses that were provided. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is that we proposed in the last, at the RPC meeting, that we were addressing a neighbor concern about property value. And during that meeting, I had promised that our company ordered up a report specifically about this site. That has been done. We do have the results, and those reports were submitted prior to this meeting this evening. So I wanted to make good on my promise tonight. Again, close-ups of the trees. And here's our site plan. I'll conclude there and see if folks have any questions for me.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Anyone else in the audience like to come forward and offer testimony in favor? Please do so at this time. Anyone else? Mark, anyone online or on phone?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak on this application, please indicate by raising an electronic hand at this time. I see no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. So likewise, at this time, anyone in the audience who may be opposed to this application, this is your opportunity to come forward and express why. Anyone in the audience opposed, please come forward. Anyone online, Mark?
Similarly, if you're joining us online and would like to speak in opposition to application C-2402, please indicate by raising an electronic hand at this time. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions of staff before I close the public hearing? See none. With that being said, close the public hearing, and I'll turn this petition over to Commissioner Scott for a motion.
All in favor of moving it forward, show of hands. I move that Levy Court grant conditional approval to applicant C-2402 Community Energy Generating Facility located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A, RPC recommendation, report dated February 27, 2024. Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated February 27, 2024, and the findings of that fact.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions on the motion from any of the commissioners? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reasons stated by Commissioner Scott.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, per staff and RPC recommendations.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, reasons stated.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for all reasons stated, and glad to see the expansion of solar in our county.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, for all reasons stated, and I'm really comfortable with this one because I know how much Mr. Hurd appreciates the land, and I know he'll take care of this and do everything the right way. Thank you.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals application C 24-02 has been approved by Levy Court. Thank you. Okay, continuing on with our public hearings. The next one, application CS 24-01, Pro Cut Tree Services. Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Ms. Kiefer.
Thank you, Commissioners. Application CS 2401 is a conditional use site plan for a landscaping and horticultural operation located on North Little Creek Road east of Dover, outside the growth zone. It should be noticed this application was actually approved previously, but missed the deadline for getting final plan approval, so they're going back through the process. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony at their February 1st hearing, and at their February 8th business meeting voted unanimously to recommend approval, including a waiver from the frontage sidewalk. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Has anything changed from the last time we approved this?
Not notably. It's effectively the same.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone in the audience who may be in favor of this application, please come forward at this time, give us your name, address, and be sworn or affirmed by the county attorney.
Alex Schmidt, Century Engineering LLC, 550 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware.
Sir, do you swear or affirm or tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight representing William Darby, who's the owner of Pro Cut Tree Services. We're requesting conditional use approval for him to continue his landscaping and horticulture operations on this site. As Sarah mentioned, we did come before the commission in 2021, I believe it was. We were granted approval then. We had 24 months to get the final site plan approved. There was a delay in getting that done. The owner is trying to cash flow the project without having to take out loans, so that kind of slowed the process. We also had a lot of agency coordination. It is an old site that he was previously leasing from a church. He actually decided he wanted to acquire the portion of the site that his operation is on. So as we were preparing the final site plan, he was also working through a subdivision process, acquiring the land. There were some issues trying to locate the septic on the site, determined who owned that. There needed to be a joint use agreement for that, a joint use agreement for the stormwater. So there was a lot of cleaning up stuff that had to happen, and the final site plan just didn't get approved within the 24-month window. The owner is actively still bringing the site up in compliance. I mean, he's already installing landscaping that's required. He's working on getting all of his equipment arranged within the designated areas, respecting the buffers that are required. So it's fully his intent to go ahead and get this approved before this additional use that we're requesting now expires. So any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And as Sarah said, this is the same application that we had previously before the commission.
Any commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience who may be in favor of this application, please come forward. Anyone else in the audience in favor of this application, please come forward. Anyone online, Mark? We're on time.
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak in favor of application CS 2401, please indicate by raising electronic hand at this time. I see no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience opposed to this application? Anyone opposed to this application, please come forward. Anyone online?
If you're joining us online and would like to speak in opposition to this application, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions of staff before I close the public hearing? Commissioner Angel?
Yes, just to be on the motion itself, it's a very lengthy one. I guess this will be a legal question for our legal counsel. Does the whole 2 pages have to be read into record as a motion, as stated?
I don't think you have to read it verbatim, but you need to.
I can reference it, though.
I'm sorry?
I can reference it?
Yeah, pretty specifically, pretty clearly and definitively, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll close the public hearing. I'll turn over to Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Levy Court grant conditional approval of application CS 2401 and A, B, C, D of 1, A through G on page 1 and 2, pursuant to chapters 187 to 205, and that the waiver of sidewalks and staff approval be granted, RPC approval unanimously, and no letters of objection from Delaware Department of Transportation, Kent Conservation District, Office of State Fire Marshal, the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, and approval to connect to public water.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angels, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, as per my motion.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, per staff and RPC recommendations.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, per recommendations.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for all reasons stated.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, all reasons stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals application CS 24-01 has been approved by Levy Court. Next item on the agenda is petition to amend comprehensive plan map and zoning map. Falls under Commissioner Scott. It's ordinance LC 24-01.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Kiefer?
Thank you. Ordinance LC 2401 is indeed a change to both the zoning map and the comprehensive plan map. The site is currently zoned AC, agricultural conservation, and the proposed zoning district is BN, neighborhood business. The site is approximately an acre on Clapham Road, just south of Thorn Street, inside the growth zone. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony at their February 1st hearing, and at their February 8th business meeting voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning, citing that the proposed zoning district is in keeping with the area and that infrastructure exists or is planned to serve development of the property. So again, this comes with a unanimous recommendation for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions, staff?
Ms. Kiefer? So staff has made one recommendation, RPC has made a different recommendation. Can you elaborate a little bit onto staff's recommendation with this for me?
Staff evaluated the application based on the criteria included in Chapter 205 zoning, as well as the future land use map and land use strategies maps in the comprehensive plan. The proposal does not comply with any of those, so staff had to recommend denial of it.
That was the biggest reason, because of compliance, correct?
It does not comply with the standards for rezoning, yes.
Any other questions? Mr. Hertz?
Well, there's a piece of property right next to it that is Zone BN. How did it get approved then, if it wouldn't have fallen under the same criteria?
It's a spot zoning that predates my time with Kent County. I don't know the reasoning Levy Court gave for it, but it would qualify as a spot zoning. It's not compliant.
Any other questions? Any other questions? If not, at this time, we'll open the public hearing, and I'll ask anyone in the audience that is in favor of this application, please come forward and give us testimony as to why.
My name's Shirley Zeck. I live at 1557 Clapham Road. I'm the half owner of that.
Excuse me.
Ford.
Excuse me.
Ma'am.
What?
Yeah. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Proceed.
Well, I think we should get rezoned. It's a pretty good site. It's on the main road, and there's going to be houses around us soon. And the one next to us is owned by the fire company. I don't know what they're going to do. But I haven't had anybody be against it that has talked to me. And we need stores and offices and everything in this area.
Any questions? Any questions from the commissioners? No, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else in favor, please come forward. Please give us your name, address, and be sworn or affirmed.
Lisa Marie Doughton, 17 South Main Street, Magnolia, Delaware.
Ms. Doughton, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Shirley has been paying BN taxes for the last 40 years there, and when she went to sell the property because she's getting up in age and she can't keep it up, the people who bought it we were all under the assumption Levy Court was hacked at that time and closed down for 2 months. So all the information that we got online was that it was BN zoned. When the people purchased the property, they went to Levy Court, and Levy Court said, no, it's not BN zoned. So we had to give them their money back. So we went through all the hoops to the plus meetings, and we met with the other Levy Court people and came to meetings here, and they were all in favor. It's a 1.3 acre lot, and there's a lot of growth going on. And yes, the firehouse owns the property next to it as BN, and they're interested in what we're going to do here. Ms. Shirley is not asking for any particular kind of structure to be formed there, or a shopping center or apartments or anything. She just wants to sell it, and whoever purchases the property, they'll have to come before you with the standards of what they can put there. And we understand that. But she's just getting up in age and needs to move on. So we wanted to make it worthy to the rest of the neighborhood because of all the growth. A small family business there, a pizzeria or a store would be nice.
Any questions? Any questions from Levy Court? Don't see any, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else in favor, please come forward. Please state your name, give us your address, and be sworn or affirmed.
Roberto Perez from 17 South Main Street, Magnolia.
Mr. Perez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, as far
Thank
as
you.
my knowledge, yes. I only got to say for Ms. Shirley here, under her circumstances, she's been 40 years plus there. And it's not even a question how much she paid taxes or not. The thing is, all her receipts all along kept saying BN on it. So now when she comes to actually take the benefits of having a BN property and take advantage of it at the time to get rid of it, she was denied of what obviously for 40 plus years thought she had. And it's just not right. You buy a property, you got it for so long, and you always think it's a BN, and then the day comes and they tell you no, it's not. It ruins a person's expectations a lot, you know. So I'm just come to say just that in general, yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions? No? Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Mark, anyone online or on phone?
If there's anyone that's joining us online would like to speak in favor of application LC 2401, please indicate by raising electronic hand. No hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience opposed? Anyone in the audience opposed to this application? Please come forward. Anyone online?
Similarly, if you'd like to speak in opposition to LC 2401, please indicate by raising electronic hand at this time. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any questions commissioners may have for staff before I close? Commissioner Sweeney.
Ms. Kiefer? So, in looking at properties around that, I don't see any that are zoned BN. I see a lot of AC.
Just to the north. There's one small property just to the north.
And that's the only one that's
In that area, yes.
in that area.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly.
Any other questions? Commissioner Scott.
Ms. Kiefer, that one, the one additional property just to the north there, that belongs to Magnolia Fire Department, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, at this time I'll close the public hearing. Turn it over to Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the Levy Court approve the ordinance LC 24-01 to amend the zoning map from AC Agricultural Conservation Low Density Residential to BN Neighborhood Business, Neighborhood Commercial located inside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A, RPC recommendation, report dated February 27, 2024, Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated February 27, 2024, and the findings of the facts.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Maston to approve. Any questions on the motion? Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, read and stated by Commissioner Scott.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, based on RPC recommendations.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, on RPC recommendations.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, RPC recommendation.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, for RPC recommendations.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for reasons stated.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, for reasons stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 24-01 has been approved by Levy Court. Good luck, Mrs. Zach. Good luck. Okay, that will close our public hearings for this evening. There's no old business or new business. Action items from February 20th, 2024 workshop. Commissioner Angel, you have two of them on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any questions on the Bay Beach? Seeing none, I move to approve 3-month extension to the Memorandum of Understanding with the Delaware Bay Beach Association from March to June 30th, 2024, and authorize the President to execute any necessary documentation to that accord.
Second.
Thank you. Motion to approve by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on the motion? Mr. Maston.
Just so that you all know, Woodland Beach, Bombay Hook, and Kitts Hammock are not included as part of this operation. I met with Tony Pratt several months ago with Kim Blows from Woodland Beach, and there's legislation that was put into place many, many years ago, and I've had Mr. Pratt meet with Tom Carper to try to get it changed because of the flooding and what have you at Kitts Hammock and Bowers, or at Woodland Beach, and it can't be changed. So I just want to make sure everybody knows there's a stopping point where this covers.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. With that being said, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Absent. Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion passed. Item number 2, Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our favorite, dog control. Any questions on this piece? Arf, arf. I move to approve memorandum of understanding number 24-353 as presented and authorize the county administrator to execute said memorandum of understanding on behalf of Kent County Levy Court.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston to approve memorandum of understanding 24-353. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
I guess I'll try it one more year. Yeah.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
I don't like this MOU only because it increases the prices over the next 3 years, and for some reason, Newcastle County is dropping out of the MOU for dog control with the state, and my fear is that the OAW will be trying to recapture some of their lost revenue from the other counties, but I still don't want dog control in Kent County, so my vote's yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion passed. Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve a $1,000 sponsorship to Central Delaware's Habitat for Humanity's annual breakfast event, Looking Back, Building Forward, as requested. The source of funding would be contingency.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? If not, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed. Commissioner Maston, you have one there, please.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Thank you, Commissioner. What's in front of you tonight are 2 change orders from 2 projects in our Community Development Fund. In both cases, we started projects on houses and found additional work that needed to be done as we got the original work started. Because the change orders are over 25% of the base contract, they need levy court approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from commissioners? I move that levy court approve the aforementioned housing rehabilitation change order number 2 for housing rehabilitation contract number 20-08.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Maston, second by Commissioner Scott to approve. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by levy court. Next item, Commissioner Hertz.
President Pepper, we still have to do 21-19. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes, you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and make the motion.
I
on
move
that.
that levy court approve the aforementioned housing rehabilitation change order number 3 for housing rehabilitation contract 21-19.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Madison, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by levy court. Now, Commissioner Hertz.
Okay. I put a motion to move to extend the ferric chloride chemical contract with Camara Water Solutions Incorporated from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 at a unit price of $1,050 per dry ton. Funding is fiscal year 2025 sewer fund operating revenues, and move to authorize the president of Levy Court to execute change order number 1.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? Any questions for staff is here, or any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Who seconded that? Yeah, I didn't hear. Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed. Next item is an introduction, ordinance LC 24-02. Commissioner Maston.
An ordinance to amend the comprehensive plan map designation and the official zoning map of Kent County, Delaware, pursuant to the provisions of Kent County Code, Volume 2, Chapter 205 Zoning, Article 3, Section 205-8, and Section 205-9, and Article 28, changes and amendments effective December 1st, 2000, as amended. Reference CZ 2402. King for public hearing on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Thank you for that introduction. Do we have any need for executive session tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, great, thank you. In that case, Commissioner Angel, I need a motion on item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go in executive session meeting following the committee meetings of March 5th, 2024 for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation, and personnel matters pursuant to 29 Del Code 10004 B2, 4, and 9.
That motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed. Any information items the commissioners may have? Any information items? Mr. Angel?
Thank you. I gave Ms. Pitts some information I brought back from Washington, D.C. We're coming into the hurricane season and devastation season with storms. And our next publication is going to be coming out, and there's a deadline due. And it gives a lot of new information from FEMA that I hadn't seen before to help people. And as you know, we all try and help our people and our constituents when they're down. So I gave her the information tonight, and I just want to let you all know that we need to look at doing something with that for the next publication. And then also last week I had the honor of working for the People's Church, making mashed potatoes and chicken and serving 50 homeless people at the church. And it was a welcome sight to see people enjoying food as well as thanking us for helping them too. So I would suggest if you all want to have some time with Miss Becky and I one evening, we can set that up for you, just to put a bug in your ear. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other information items? Commissioner Maston?
Can I confirm that we have budget meetings tomorrow night, 5:30?
The next budget meeting is actually a week from tomorrow.
Well, that's what I thought too, Ken, but when I talked to Kathy Finney yesterday, she told me we had a meeting tomorrow night, and Mr. Scott questioned that, so I thought I'd better be sure.
That was, I guess, a communication breakdown on our part because Kelly's off on vacation next week, so we won't be able to do personnel. I mean, we hadn't prepared anything. We were going to start with the week from tomorrow, but well, unless anyone has any objections to that.
Just confirming there is no budget tomorrow night.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other information items? Any public comments? Any public comments? Any commissioner comments? Scott?
I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Frazier from DVFA here tonight. I appreciate you joining us. I know the fire service is getting ready to experience some trying times in more areas than just finances, so and just make sure everybody's aware of that.
Yeah, we're extremely happy to have you here. Any other commissioner comments? I just had one. Yesterday, Commissioner Scott and myself, we were honored to be able to present the Medal of Valor to paramedic Mike Porter yesterday at the 911 Center for his act of heroism by going into a burning house in Frederica and rescuing an elderly lady. And so glad to be able to do that. It was well attended by the other paramedics and people from the 911 Center. And we got a lot of good social media coverage on that, and it was also on the news. So I was surprised, but glad it was done. He certainly deserved the honor and receiving the medal. And then today, Commissioner Angel, myself, went to Dover Public Library and presented the library fund check to the Dover Public Library. And on Thursday, Commissioner Scott and I will be going to Milford Library doing the same thing. And if anyone would like to tag along, they're welcome to do so. Any other commissioner comments? If not, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Angel. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody want to stay? We are adjourned. I believe you're on